Now we're going to hear from Justin. Now, I met Justin when we were planning the first Seattle Mind Camp, kind of the granddaddy of geek events here in Seattle. Someday there will be another one, we hope. But Justin's always experimenting, and now he's going to talk about one of his latest experiments, the 6-hour startup. Please welcome Justin.
All right. So I can't claim loan credit for this, but there's a group of I don't know, a dozen people over there who also work on this. But basically, we're seeing a trend now with web frameworks like Django and Rails, where it's getting really, really easy to create startups and web apps, and you can do a whole lot more with a small group of people. And so what a couple of us started thinking, well, is what happens? How far can you turn that dial? Like, can you turn it all the way to 11, as the cliche goes? And how fast can you really get something out there? So the general problem is that startups are too hard. Like, there's a million different excuses not to make a startup. Like, you don't have enough money, you don't have the tech team, you don't have the biz experience. That's all crap. So basically, we have to figure out, well, how do we make it easier? Like, how do you make it as easy as possible to create a startup? And so what we started thinking is, what's like the minimal commitment? Like, everybody can spare a Saturday afternoon, basically. So you have 6 hours, Saturday afternoon, you're sitting around, you've got, beer, hanging out with a couple of friends. The worst that can happen is that you have wasted, well, it's not even a waste. You've spent a Saturday afternoon hanging out with friends. The best thing that can happen is that you've got a business or a startup or just something out on the web that's out there. So we've done this a couple of times now. The first time we did it was tagminder.com, which is basically, it sits on top of Delicious and a couple other sites, and basically you put in a certain formatted tag, and it'll come back a week later, whatever your time, and remind you. The next thing we did was GameWrangle.com, which is a social networking service for trading video games, and these are all live and out there. And then the most recent thing, which we did about a week and a half ago, was called Poor Mike's, which is a collaborative social calendaring system for answering questions like, when's the best time of the month to buy a car? When is the best time of the year to plant tulips in Seattle, I think was one of the other examples. So there's sort of a question here. Oh, the specs. Ignore this slide. This doesn't matter. Like, we've been playing with Python and Django, but we're talking about, I think we're going to do something with Squeak maybe next time. And I put this up here because it's a geek crowd, and I know you guys might dig this, but the tech doesn't matter. Like, we can do this with anything. So, but now you start thinking, well, are these really startups? Like, are these businesses? And the short answer is no, not really. Like, Poor Mike's, I think we might actually generate some revenue. We're talking about it, but these are kind of features. And so that's not as sexy. Like, the 6-hour prototype, the six hour feature, not as sexy, but we're sticking with the 6-hour startup, and the plan overall is to actually build something and to kick things out. The biggest lesson here is that we really don't believe in failure. Like I said earlier, the worst that can happen is that you've sort of wasted, you've wasted 6 hours, but it's a minor commitment. Anybody can spare the 6 hours, and really you're gonna learn something. The guy that crashed that plane, I'm sure he learned something from the experience. But there are ways that there are things that you can do to sort of maximize the outcome. There are a couple of things that you can plan ahead, like in terms of your technology stack, what certain roles of what people are going to do. But at the same time, you also need to sort of embrace the chaos. We usually have a fairly random group of people. We should throw out an open invitation for anybody to come, and everybody's got input and everybody's got something to say in their own thing. If it's just a small group of people, this isn't necessarily quite as important, but we're trying to scale this up to 30, 40 people, and this becomes really important. The main thing that we've run into is the ownership and structure. And if you really want something to grow, if you really want something to come out of this, then you really need to have somebody who owns it and is really going to be, the flag carrier and really carry this forward. So there are a couple other things that we have. There's a couple other practical points. It's 6 hours. You've only got 6 hours. You need to have something realistic and something that's actually attainable by the end of the day. And that's really one of the hardest things. The first lesson we learned with Tagminder, if there's a question that's too hard, do it later. Don't even worry about it. And just get something out there. So this is what we as a group are doing over the next month. We're going to do the next 6-hour startup on March 8th. And we've got a mailing list. But this again, this isn't important. This is about you guys. This is about getting out there and just building something. There's 100 different reasons. and you just need to go out there and figure out, again, it's a Saturday afternoon. What have you got to lose? Just get something out there, get something built. And again, even if you don't get something up there, even if it's quote unquote a failure, then you've learned something and you're ready to tackle it the next time. And again, just get something out on the website. So check out our website, join the mailing list, and seriously, build something. Just get something out there. That's it.